All right. Hi, parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, anybody looking into your child's progress throughout the 2021 school year at JMMS. My name is Mr. Petter, Brian Petter to be specific. I'm going to be your son or daughter's eighth grade art teacher or possibly advanced eighth grade art teacher if your child applied and got into the course back into the spring. I'm super excited to have everybody this school year, whether that be remotely or in person. I'm looking forward to getting things started. Just wanted to create a little welcome video. I know a lot of things are going to be new this year, especially with the remote learning and things being on Polaris. But also, parents are going to have access to Polaris. So sometimes if you see something, there might be something that looks a little bit unfamiliar. So like I said, everything that we do in class and everything that is expected for your child to complete is going to be done on Polaris. So each week, for example, they're going to have a sketchbook assignment that's due that Friday. And so that sketchbook assignment is going to be their grade for the week. There could potentially be some assignments kind of scattered in there, whether it be Tuesday or Wednesday. But for the most part, the assignment is going to be due that Friday for a grade. Now, that is most of what's going to be expected of your child. So there's going to be some common questions that come up throughout the 12 weeks. Number one is, what does my son or daughter need to complete eighth grade art? The only thing that I can technically require and make as an expectation or a part of the expectation is that for your son or daughter to have a sketchbook, for your son or daughter to have a Chromebook, and also a pencil. All right. Some people always ask, like, is a mechanical pencil okay? I personally am not too picky about the types of pencils. So if your son or daughter has a mechanical pencil, I think that's going to be just fine. So we're not going to be too picky about that. A couple other things. Everything that's expected is only going to require those three things. All right. Now, if your son or daughter chooses to go a little bit above and beyond those expectations of like materials, they can certainly do that. But it can't be expected on my end, and I don't think it would be fair for me to expect something that wasn't initially on that supply list. So that is basically what is going to be expected. Now, there's going to be a little bit of something new this year where we haven't really gotten into in the past, and that is the enrichment projects. So when you see the word enrichment, basically what that is we're just taking what's expected of the child and we're just taking it a step further just to try to provide that opportunity that in most cases, like in years past, that kids would get. You know, these kids this year, unfortunately, they're not going to be able to probably do clay because clay involves a lot of sharing. It's kind of hard to distribute clay and also maintain social distance, keep our masks on. It's just not a very logistically speaking, it's not a project that we're probably going to do in class, unfortunately. If there is a way that we can, trust me, I'm trying to brainstorm ways to do a lot of things, but we'll see when we get there. But I do think it's possible that there are ways I can provide enrichment projects that are going to give your son or daughter a really cool opportunity that's just a little bit outside of what we can expect from every single child at Jackson Middle School, if that makes sense. The other thing is opportunity is key. So this year, we're not supposed to teach kids in school any differently than we teach kids remotely. Okay. And that's obviously that's the way it should be. Every kid should get the same opportunity. So what we are basically we're working on it a little bit, but I wanted to explain it up front. With the enrichment projects, there are going to be projects that children or kids could potentially use other materials. For example, if a student is working on a painting, all right, I personally don't think, logistically, again, that we could pass out paint to 150 kids at a time, especially during the pandemic. So we are unable to share certain materials. You know, in the past, if we were working on like if we were working on like colored pencil projects, what we would do is we would sit out colored pencils and kids would come up at the beginning of class, take the colors that they need, go back to their seat, work throughout the period, put them back at the end of the period, and then the next period, other kids would come in, grab the same colored pencils. We always require or we recommend students to wash their hands, but it's just one of those tough spots that we're in right now with sharing certain materials. So for the enrichment projects, those are not going to be for a grade, but we want to provide them because we think that it's important for kids to have that opportunity. So basically, the long-winded way around this, and what I'm trying to get at, is there could potentially be a situation where your son or daughter basically comes to you and may ask if you can run out and get these certain supplies. It's not something that I personally want to ask any parent to do. I don't want any parent to have to go out to Pat Catan's or to Michael's and get the supplies, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of a heads up that could potentially happen. Probably more so for our remote learners, which is totally fine. The remote learners are going to get all the same opportunities, but it's most likely going to be a little bit easier for the remote learners to provide their own materials. Like I said, this is not for a grade, so your son or daughter does not have to do these projects. If there's a circumstance where, whether it's like financially or there's just not enough time in the day for you to actually get the materials, you can always put in a request to me. I can't promise that it's going to even be available, but we can actually talk about it and try to work it out. We can also, like, one thing that I'm going to start doing, and I've already done with a lot of my curriculum planning, because it's all been changed for the school year, is I'm trying to be cognizant of materials needed for each project. Even if it's enrichment, I'm still trying to be cognizant that, okay, this parent's not going to want to go out and spend $100 on acrylic paint. It's just not realistic. It's not practical. So I'm not going to be expecting those types of things. Basically, what we're looking at is a student may need a ruler. A student could potentially need a specific type of paper. A student could potentially need colored pencils, certain types of erasers, possibly like a small pack of oil pastels. So we're not really talking about these extravagant things, but just wanted to kind of talk you through that, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions, like, how are we going to do art class online, right? And I'm still asking myself that every day. So we're trying to figure it out. I understand that everybody's stressed out. We all want what's best for the kids, but we're going to get through it. All right. We're just going to have to do it day by day, and it'll all work out. I think that's it as far as the expectations. So just to kind of review that again, there's going to be some expectations, like assignments given each week. It's going to be in the week at a glance folder. You'll kind of get familiar with that in a little while. And then there's also going to be enrichment. Just again, enrichment is not expected. It's just an opportunity for your child to get a little bit more of what we normally provide all of our kids at JMMS. If you have any questions at all, my name is Brian with an I. Last name is Petter, Poetter. I'm sure you've already seen that in Polaris and everything. But if you have any questions at all, feel free to call me. Feel free to email me, and let's have a great school year. All right. Thanks.